Hi everyone, welcome back to Student Pages Spotlight series. I'm your host Izzy, and today I'm joined for a dual interview with Nicole Alyse Nelson and Jonah Alyse. Thank you so much for joining me today. And how are you both doing?
Very
Thank you
well.
for having
Yeah,
us.
pleasure to be here.
Yeah.
Super excited to be speaking to you both. So you both set to attend the 2026 Academy Awards for your Oscar-nominated projects, Jane Austen's Period Drama for you, Nicole, and Blue Moon for you, Jonah. How does it feel to be a part of projects that are being recognised by the Academy?
Gosh. Like a dream. For me personally, I've always, you never know where life is going to take you, but I've always felt like I'm more of like a TV career trajectory. And if I was a betting woman, I would have bet that I would go to the Emmys before I'd ever go to the
That makes
Oscars.
sense, yeah.
And I would have lost that bet. That's just wild for me alone.
It's just the way life is, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
always what you least expect. I
Yeah.
mean, people always say this, but it's kind of hard to fathom when it's happening,
Mm.
especially the fact that we are a couple and our first time going to the Oscars is happening at the same time for different projects. It kind of like it doesn't it's hard to compute, but
Yeah.
we're both just trying to stay as present as possible and enjoy it because they're two incredible projects that we're very proud to be a part of. So the fact that they're both being recognized by the Academy is a really amazing honor. So we're just trying to stay
Yeah.
present for it, aren't
One
we?
thing we're both really good at reminding each other about is like it's so easy in life for something to just become normal and like your base. Like you get news and it's exciting for 10 minutes and then you're like, now what am I gonna wear? Who am I gonna and it's just normal life. And we have to be like, hey, you're going to the Oscars.
Yeah, yeah.
You're pretty cool.
It's amazing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, such a crossover, like you said, for you both to be going at the same time, but for completely different projects is must feel so surreal. So I'm sure it's such a huge experience for you both. So Nicole, you take on the character Vagianna Talbot in a sharp 1813 set satire short film that upends the traditional period romance, noted as a bold story that uses humor, that everything to challenge all these taboos. Can you share a bit more detail about what drew you to the storyline or what drew you to the script in particular for that project?
Yeah, so it came to me in a funny way. I have a friend, he has a friend, same friend, who his name is Dustin Ingram. He's actually in the project.
Fantastic actor.
He's Dr. Bengley, but he's been friends with the directors and writers Julia and Steve for many years. And so he knew about this project they were developing that was finally getting ready to like go from script to screen. And he read the script and told them, I know who you need for this character, Vagiana. Like she's coming to my mind when I'm reading it. So because they didn't know me, they asked me to audition. But because it came from a friend, like I didn't really have much information. It was like, hey, Julie and Steve are really, really cool. They're really funny and really talented. And here are some sides to put yourself on an audition. I didn't even really know the
What the
full
movie was
I
about.
didn't know, like, I didn't have the full script. So I remember
So you're like Vagiana,
the
huh?
first thing I thought was Vagiana. I was like, that's a,
She asked me, she said, "Is that a traditional
I said,
British
is
name?" I was like,
that
"No,
like,
no."
is that a name from like 1801?
I said, "I
Like,
hope not."
I didn't know much of anything. I just like ran with like the 2 pages that I had. And then once I got the part and we started rehearsing and I got the full script, only then did I really realize what we were making, which is hilarious. But it's just surpassed all expectations and it's even more brilliant than I could have ever imagined. So it came to me in a funny way and it ended up being something totally different than I expected.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, it's not every day you meet someone in the street called Vagiana, so I'm sure that was a whole experience,
And I
but
don't know what
super
what it says
exciting.
about you that Dustin's read the script and thought, "Oh, I know the perfect Vagiana."
Even looks like one.
Yeah,
It looks like a
not sure
Vagiana.
how to say that one, but so on topic with what we've just said, do you feel like there's any similarities at all between yourself and your character, or do you feel like you were made for this role in any way? Do you feel like you were really drawn to playing Vagiana?
Well, one thing thing that I noted instantly from, again, just the first 2 pages I was given was just like how desperately this girl wanted to belong and fit in with her older sisters. And I'm an only child, but I really, really, really resonate with the whole theme of like trying your best to belong and fit in. I was kind of the kid that grew up not really knowing which clique to be a part of, and I had a hard time making friends, and I switched schools a lot. So I was always kind of the person that was like eavesdropping and like trying to be helpful and like hoping somebody would just invite me to their party and like let me. So I was like, right away, I was like, I know what this girl is like, and it doesn't matter which sister is telling her to do something. It's like, if I'm a part of it, that's okay. And I sensed that like right away.
And did you find it easier to kind of get into that character then, since you resonated a little bit with how she felt?
Yeah, but I also, the writing was so strong and the writing was so good. It was so clear to me where the funny was, like what the timing had to be to run in and run out and just kind of be this pawn for both sisters to kind of get what they wanted. I was like, I just quickly understood, at least what I thought, what the writers were going for. And then when I got the part, they were like, "Yeah, that was spot on." So, yeah, it was a mix of understanding she wanted to belong, but also just the jokes are so strong. They're so strongly written, and I was like, "There's only one way to play this, and I'm gonna give it to you."
Definitely. And so Jonah, you take on character Morty Knuckles Rifkin alongside names like Ethan Hawke, Bobby Cannavale, Margaret Qualley, and Andrew Scott, sorry, in Blue Moon, which is up for 2 Academy Awards. Absolutely incredible. Do you feel like you were made for the role of Morty? And again, are there any similarities between you and your character?
I feel like made for is I wouldn't necessarily say. I will say that I like Nicole. Well, and as an actor, your job is, whether they're like an extremely likable person or a serial killer, you have to try and relate to them in some way. But with Morty, it was very easy. You know, he was someone who's ambitious. At least when I read this script, he's someone who is meeting someone he admires, Lorenz Hart, and is you know. That dynamic, but on top of that, having his own ambitions of being a writer and a performer. And whether you're, you know, in this business in the 1940s or now, you meet someone like that, you naturally want to network and connect. And I don't feel like he was doing it in an inappropriate way, but I think, you know, that was his main focus. I'm a musician and I'm meeting this. It would be the equivalent of me as an actor meeting Ethan Hawke. And so that's funnily enough how I was on set. Really, it wasn't hard for me to step into Morty's shoes, because I would often think to myself, not in terms of trying to get something, but just the dynamic of established person to look up to in my industry. And Lorenz Hart was definitely that for Morty. But in terms of when the audition came through, I actually have an identical twin brother who's also an actor. And we're both musicians, but I'm playing guitar mainly and he plays piano mainly. So initially I thought, oh, Christian probably, you know, get this, because we often audition for the same stuff. But I didn't send piano originally because I was filming a movie in Kentucky. So I didn't have a piano. So I just sent the script, the scene, which was a lot of listening, didn't think anything of it. And then I got a call back and they wanted to see the piano, and then they wanted to see more. And so I was like, oh, okay. Fun fact, I play about half of the actual piano in the movie. The other half is the composer, Graham Reynolds, who's fantastic. But obviously, because I know what I did, I can hear when it's me and then when it transitions into him. And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't know how much they were going to use, if any, because I didn't go into the studio. I played it all live on the day. So the fact that any of it made it in is incredible.
And how was that experience, just turning up on the day and kind of not only acting, but then having to play musically as well? I'm sure that was a very daunting feeling, maybe.
Incredibly nerve-wracking. I mean, my initial, after I booked the job, right after excitement was crapping myself, because I just thought, I actually, the movie reads like a play. It's not, but it's like, it does read like it could be like that. And I thought, is this going to be a oneer? Is this going to be one shot? And I thought, if it's one shot, they're going to want all the piano live. And if I make one note wrong, are we going to have to start the whole day again? And I was like, really nervous. And then Richard, the director, instantly calmed me down and was like, we're not doing that. And also, you know, he was very kind. But then yeah, they did actually give me a list of 100 songs, and I was like, because I don't read music. I kind of listen. I taught myself and just kind of play by ear.
Mhm.
So anytime I learn a song, it's I'm making my own arrangements and just learning it by listening and learning, listening, learning, listening. But the thing is, there is memory. So I was like, I can't. I could learn 100 songs, but memorizing them all without reading them was the problem. So he gave me so much freedom. He was like, well, tell us what songs you like, and we'll see if we can get the right. So he kind of put it on me, and I was able to, for the most part, go, yeah, I think I maybe want to play this one here, which was a dream come true. But yeah, it felt like a lot of pressure. But I'm so happy with the final cut and on my piano in the movie. My favorite is there's this moment at, I don't want to spoil it, but it's kind of the emotional climax of the movie. I'll say that my arrangement of a song called "What'll I Do," which is a beautiful song, and I realized they were using my live performance in the movie, and I was like, wow, I can't believe that. Like I felt like very proud that Richard wanted to use that then. So yeah.
Definitely. I mean, not only is it then an achievement watching yourself in the movie, you're also watching yourself perform musically in the movie as well. So double whammy. But in addition to all of this, you've recently joined the DC universe as Dean Farr in Superman. Incredible, working under the direction of James Gunn. Clearly, you've played such a range of characters. I'm sure that was phenomenal. I have to ask how that was.
What a dream. I mean, when I mentioned Christian Lee's my identical twin brother, to be a part of the DC universe is at all like when you get that call, it's like this is okay, it's happening. And then when you step on the set, by far the biggest, most grandiose set I've ever experienced. One standout thing that I want to mention about that experience is I've been on many different sets, but the way that James Gunn runs his set and directs it, you wouldn't know how much money is involved. It doesn't have that. Sometimes I imagine, I've not been on many, but sometimes I can imagine when it's a huge conglomerate kind of big studio film, it can feel a little bit lifeless and kind of like a machine. He has so much heart and humor in the way that he works. It could almost feel like you're on like a small indie movie, and there's so much passion and creativity and fun, and he's always wanting us to improvise, and that really surprised me. And I was very pleasantly surprised by how fun the set felt and how much freedom we were given. So yeah, it was an amazing experience.
Definitely, I can imagine it must be such an overwhelming experience as well at the same time.
Mm.
But for both of you, my question would be, what would be your favorite type of character to act and why?
Hmm.
Type of.
Our cat is eating something. Just let him have it.
Oh, God. Okay, it's really distracting.
Okay, take it from him. Take it from him.
Okay, I'll be right back.
No problem at all.
Nimbus. His name is Nimbus. If you're a Harry Potter fan,
Oh, that is so. What type of cat is he?
he's we put him into frame for a sec. He's a
I
long
would love to see it.
long hair. He's got a little bit of maybe Maine Coon.
Oh, what a cutie! Hi, Nimbus.
Nimbus. Say hello.
Hi, Nimbus.
Eating something.
But he shouldn't have been.
Okay, you go have fun.
Okay, sorry. Now I can focus. Now I can focus.
No
What was the
problem at
question?
all.
Like,
Favorite type of character?
Yes.
Oh gosh, favorite type of character. Do you have an answer for this?
It's a difficult one. There's a lot of variety, so I can imagine it's hard to answer.
Well, I was just reading a book actually called Save the Cat. It's a screenwriting book, but it was literally the chapter I was just reading was talking about different types of archetypal characters, like Jungian style archetypes. I think my favorite, it's hard to say because as actors we love to jump into something we haven't played before. So I think I'm almost naturally going to say something that I've not been given the chance to play just because as an actor that's what you want to do. I'd love to play like an underdog style character. Like, ones that are like you're rooting them from the start because they're in this world where they're surrounded by all these big fish, and I think that would be really cool to play something like that.
Yeah, like a character that everybody just assumes, like,
But favorite,
Not much fun.
my favorite would be like comedy wise. It's always so funny when someone is incredibly confident and cocky that has no right to be. Like, I played a character called Shane in a movie called Carved, and he was ridiculous. He felt like he was the most talented, incredible person in the room, and he really wasn't. And he was the loudest, and so that's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. This answer is not technically accurate. It's not like a type, but it comes to mind because yeah, I have cat hair on me.
Nimbus is
Thank
all over
you.
you all of a sudden.
Because his hair. I've always wanted to play a character who is in space. I
Mm.
really want to be either like an astronaut, like my rules for it are vague. It can be space in terms of what we know about space, like you would need a suit, you can't breathe, or it could simply be a Star Wars type space journey where it's not that accurate. I don't really care,
Right, so it
but
doesn't matter if you're an alien that lives in space or you're a human that's going to space.
correct.
Mhm.
I want to play a character that leaves planet Earth.
Definitely, that'd be really fun, I feel like. And
That'd
Yeah.
be awesome.
one of my following questions was going to be what would your dream set be, but I'm going to imagine that would be the same because playing anything in outer space, I can imagine would be so
Imagine the ship.
amazing.
You may regret it though. I've spoken to a few actors who have done movies like that, and the harnesses can get a little bit,
Yeah.
from what I've heard.
Yeah.
My dream set is either a mafia or a western. I already know that.
Oh, I would love a Western.
Because I've already ridden horses for like a medieval vibe, but to ride a
Mhm.
horse in that, a western would be so cool.
Yeah.
And I feel like a
It
mafia
opens
is
so
just
many
like a New
doors.
York street western.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
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 that's true.
definitely.
yeah.
Awesome. So my next question then, skipping over that one because we already tied into that one nicely. Could you both give us a little bit of insight into your training background and how you got into the industry?
I was lucky enough to, first of all, live in the UK. The reason I say that is from any American actors that I've met, I think it's getting better. But I think
Mhm.
when you're younger, there's not as much resources. Maybe in school, there's a theatre program and things like
Yeah.
that. But in terms of like, I grew up and had, I went to a bunch of like, what was it called? My
Youth
original, yeah, the
programs?
youth theatre in
Mhm.
Clacton on Sea was amazing for me. But then I went to stage school. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called Sylvia Young Theatre School.
Yeah, yeah, I'm
I
familiar.
went there, and that we had an agency, and so my career kind of started at like 9, 10 years old.
Mm.
And so it was kind of training in theatre school, kind of singing, dancing, acting. When I tell people in America, they're like, it sounds like a movie, like you're in Fame or something, but it was my actual childhood. And then, but also auditioning. And so that was kind of my training. My favorite was improv. I liked improv, and I think it's a fantastic training for an actor. Theatre and improv. I think if
Mhm.
you're going to be a screen actor, you can almost tell when someone is theatrically trained or has done a lot of them because there's a going with the flowiness nature to them. Yeah, it was intense from about 9 or 10 years old. I was kind of training. And then after about 16, I just left school and just tried to continue the momentum.
Yeah, I did not have a stage school or anything of the sort. I went to public school in America, which is just like what the movies make it look like. And I did theater throughout high school, and I did like one musical and like a lot of different plays. We did a lot of one act plays and like different things, but I wasn't like the standout star student. Like when I was 16, 17, I looked about 9. And I like was extremely short, not developed, like just, when they would do a play about like, the Crucible or something, like I really didn't fit in. So I often wasn't cast, or I would be like
I was never cast in a school musical
yeah,
either,
like
by the
I'd be
way.
like in the background, like the old woman
Yeah.
number 2, or like Pinhead number 3. And so I spent a lot of time in theater class, like training and learning, but I didn't have a lot of opportunity to like do it out on the stage in public. And so around like the summertime for like 15 to 17, I started going to a summer program at a college called SFA, and it was several weeks, and we would put together like a bunch of different like one act plays and short plays, and we at the end would perform it for all the parents. And that was kind of my theatrical boot camp, where if you paid the money to attend, you were cast. Everybody was cast. It was about just finding who fits where and going and doing it. So I spent 2 summers doing that. Really, really fun. A lot of training there. And then when I came out to LA, I only had theater experience. And so it was that whole, okay, how do we modify this for TV and film? Because I wasn't really doing theater out here at the time. So yeah, I started with Margie Haber Studio, and then I went to Leslie Kahn and Company. And they were 2 really good schools to go to back because they both had really different approaches. Like Margie Haber is a lot more instinct, and Leslie Kahn is a lot more technical. So they taught me different things, and I could take pieces from what I liked with both and run with it. And outside of those classes, I did private coaching with Tate Hanyok, who's amazing, and now with Taylor Loeb. She's amazing. So I'm, forever a student.
You're always learning.
Always looking and always taking from other
Hey,
people.
look at you bringing it into student pages.
There we go.
Yeah.
Well, again, you just really nicely always segue in my questions, because my next question again was going to be, would you have any advice for students looking to get into the industry? So you really lined that one up for me again.
You want to give advice from the UK perspective, or what's your advice?
Students wanting to get into the industry. I think it's hard from my perspective, having gone to a stage school. I want to answer it for someone who maybe wasn't lucky enough to either get in or have that as an option for them. I would say make stuff. The reason I would say that is because this industry, like many other industries, by the way, not just our industry, can have a barrier. In Hollywood, there's an awful term called you're too green, which means you haven't done anything. But then how are you supposed to do anything if everyone's telling you you're too green to do anything? So my advice is make stuff. Al Pacino's a famous quote from him, which I love, is that we're all actors. We're all actors. Oh, God.
What are you trying to say?
Take 2. All actors are also writers, whether they know it or not. Jack Nicholson used to say that as well. And the reason that, and I'm not saying you have to write your own stuff, but make your own stuff, because if you make a reel, great, but it doesn't have to be a reel. It can be anything. In this age now where we have YouTube, TikTok, whatever it is, or making a short film for nothing, it makes such a huge difference. Even if you don't like the film you've made, you're cutting your teeth and you're doing stuff, and it is going to help you on your auditions and getting stuff, for agents and stuff, and maybe you'll get into a play or something. But I would think it's just making stuff and not being afraid to reach out. I mean, Nicole is amazing and was amazing at this.
This is what I was gonna.
You say it then. I was gonna say that's the other thing.
So I have 2 major pieces of advice I would give people. The first one is to self-submit. There are so many sites in your area, whatever country you're in. Like out here, it's Actors Access, it's Casting Networks. For you guys, it's Spotlight. And I don't know if you have another one. But like find, and yes, they charge you, but like get on the site, buy a year subscription and self-submit. Get yourself into student projects, short films. The second you have a reel of actual footage with you on set, send cold emails. And this is the other piece, is like, do not be afraid to email people. If you want to look for emails, get on IMDb Pro and look for emails. Look at agents you want to be. Obviously, don't go crazy. Don't be like CAA, but like start low, start at like local boutique agencies, and don't be afraid to send that email. This is my training. This is some footage I've done recently. I would love to have a meeting, whatever. Just self-submit to get footage and send that email.
Same with the agencies too. It doesn't hurt if you have an agency that you'd like to. They will often take a chance on people that haven't done anything, and if you don't have a reel, they'll ask you come in and read this monologue. So it's just like, it's always worth sending the email and reaching out. That's a great piece of advice.
Just taking the shot.
Yeah,
Definitely.
that's right.
Definitely. So, kind of with this one as well, I feel like in the world that we're in today, I feel like there is a huge presence on social media for a lot of people, especially within film industries and etc. So, how significant do you think it is to use social media, and how have you both utilized social media when enhancing your careers?
I'm going to be honest with this question because I think that more people should be. I think it's a very frustrating,
Mm,
unnecessary part of the industry that has been thrust upon actors that it shouldn't have been. I think
mhm,
that studios take way too much consideration into how much followers you have, what's I know for a fact that movies are looking at not just how many followers, but the engagement and everything. So to answer your question, unfortunately,
It
yes,
is
it is
important.
important. So I don't want to say don't do it. I'm just saying I resent that fact. I think not to sound, like kind of it's not ungrateful, but it's just I would prefer it to not be a factor. And I know a lot of actors, the second that they don't have to be on it, are going to delete it. I know there's many actors, Jacob Elordi, to name one that I know of just off the top of my head, who don't
mhm,
have it. And
mhm,
if you're Jacob Elordi, and if I get to that point in my career, I will delete it. But right now, I haven't deleted it because I need it, because I
Mm,
know, to bring it to Ethan Hawke's daughter, Maya Hawke, she's got a
mhm,
great conversation about this online. She was in an interview and she was trying to make a movie, and she doesn't have Instagram, and they told her, well, you need to blah 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 blah, and they were telling Maya Hawke that she needed to have what's it called, like a face
a
online, yeah,
following.
like a kind of, and so to answer your question, it is a factor.
mhm,
I think it's possible without,
mm.
but it definitely, some people love it. I mean, if you are passionate about social media and it's something that you're really good at and you know how to use it, then you're great. This is a great time to lean into that and post a good comedy skit. If you've got comedy, or
Well,
you know what I mean?
this is what I was gonna say. Is like I think that there are so many funny people that
Yes.
people that do stand up, people that have skits, people that are just funny bones that have even come from like Awesomeness TV and things like people that are just
Yeah.
funny online that have thrived in this world. And if that's what makes you happy and you're like, I have all these ideas, nobody will let me do it, I'm gonna do it myself. That's amazing. But if you're the type of person who's posting just because society says you have to, and hopefully one of your things goes viral and that helps, and you're just kind of like resenting it, maybe don't do it, and just focus on the work and let the right parts come to you.
I do want to say, for young and upcoming actors who are listening to this, you don't have to. So,
Mm.
if the reason I say that is because there are maybe representations or people that say you have to, and Nicole's right. If you love it, then do it. But it's so important. The most important thing is your craft and focusing on that, and kind of like, if you are in it for the right reasons because you love movies and creating characters and jumping into stories, then you will always, I believe that cream rises to the top. And just, in this industry, you will end up being found, just because if you really truly love it and that's your passion, if you're an actor that's just passionate about that, that's the most important thing. No one can take that away from you.
Definitely, yeah. And I think like you said, it is something that's kind of thrust upon anyone in a lot of professions now
Hmm.
as well these days. So
Hmm.
yeah, really, really great stuff there as well. So kind of similarly also, what would you both like to see in the industry going forward? Is there anything in particular that you are hoping to see come out of the industry in the following years?
I want more comedy films to make a
Yeah,
comeback.
comedy
Like
movies.
early 2000s vibe comedy films. I
Yeah.
feel like we've gotten so much into like action and superhero and all those things are great, but there's not a lot, people aren't betting a lot on comedies. Like I want to see more Bridesmaids. I want to see
Yeah.
more
Mm.
um give me a good
Wedding
one. I want
Crashers.
to see more Wedding Crashers. Like
Hangover.
I want to see more of those films
We
so
will,
bad.
I think that it is coming back around.
Yeah.
I think that people going to the cinema to watch comedy. When did that? when did people think that that wasn't fun? I mean, it's great to go watch an action movie in the cinema, but laughing in a cinema with other people,
Yeah.
that was such an amazing thing. And I think that that should come back 100%. I want to
Yeah.
see more unknowns in
Leading parts. Yeah.
being given that shot. I think that we're in the same way. Hollywood has always been risk averse, but it comes in bigger waves and then smaller waves. You know, the 90s was this huge burst after the 80s because they were so risk averse. You can't say that, you can't do that, you can't do this. And all of a sudden, the 90s, all these incredible movies came out because we were tired of it. And that's going to happen, mark my words, as we get in these next few years. These young filmmakers who have been put in these boxes, we're all going to go, no, you know. And also, when you cast an unknown, there's so many upsides, there's so many wins to that. I mean, you see the character, you don't see, you know. I mean, when they cast Star Wars, George Lucas knew, I want all of my main leads to be unknowns, because what you saw was Luke Skywalker. You know, you didn't see Robert De Niro or insert A-list name of the time. You saw Han Solo. And I think that is really smart. So there's lots of reasons to cast unknown actors, but also I think that when you cast straight to offer on a celebrity, you've not given the character its worth. Maybe the perfect person for that character is out there that's just one audition away. It also takes the fun out of casting. I'm sure casting directors would love to do it because that's their job, is finding talent.
Yeah, instead it's paperwork and negotiation.
Exactly. So that's my big thing.
No, I completely agree with both of those. Hopefully, we'll be seeing some more comedy movies with unknown leads.
Yeah, that's it. Double whammy.
Definitely. And so, what qualities do you admire in actors? Is there anyone in particular you guys look up to at all?
That's a great question.
I've always loved Emma Stone. What I admire about her career is just how she's made this arc of like going from films like Superbad and Easy A into like super arty films that are in the Oscars every year. And it's like it's such a broad, she's done every genre at this point, and I love that she hasn't pigeonholed herself. Like I like people that are able, even Matthew McConaughey, when he started being pigeonholed to like the romantic lead, he was like, I'm not taking anything else until I get out of this genre because I want to prove my versatility. So I like any actor that's able in some way to break out of a particular box and show the whole rainbow, you know? That's what I admire.
Yeah, 100%.
I admire a certain honest charisma that only comes from complete freedom in the moment of your character. That it was a little bit lost, but that's only because people weren't casting people this way. But it's the kind of charisma that you think, God, only that person could pull it off. Like that's what I mean by honest. Like Michael J. Fox had a certain charisma that, you know, all of us as actors are bringing 50% of ourselves. And so, you know, there's that kind of actors who have that. There's something about them that is so magnetic, and you know, Nick Cage, he's Nick Cage, so I laugh, but he is that charisma when it's grounded in truth. It's incredible. I want to not to just name like people back in the day, some newer actors who I really feel bring this and have this. Joe Keery and Gaten Matarazzo from Stranger Things. They're stand-up performances for me because they are able to give you incredible charisma and line readings, but it's so grounded in truth. I feel like they're so present. So yeah, those kind of actors, I want to see more of actors with that quality, because I think it's
that
so
make
interesting
bold choices.
That make bold choices,
and they get
but
away with it. Yes,
exactly.
Yes.
You know, it's not just like the safe. They don't do the safe line read. You know.
Yeah, 100%. And so my final question for you both is, what are both of your proudest achievements to date? You've done so much, but is there any particular that you're both very proud
When
of?
you asked me that, I thought of an answer for him, but I'm not him. So I feel like I don't know what you're gonna say, but I have in my head your answer.
Finding and keeping Nicole by my side.
I wasn't gonna say that.
No, it's true. It's true. I think that in life, you when you find your person and your partner and someone that it almost feels, like how can you be this lucky? And I feel like the universe can reward you sometimes. And I feel like I must have been doing something right because she just kind of fell into my lap. It was like I didn't even try. It was just like this gift. She just DM'd me. It was just like one of these things. I was like, what is
We
going on?
had mutual friends. It wasn't that weird. Just throwing that
That's
out.
my most proud accomplishment. But you mean in the career, I'm assuming.
Well, I honestly anything because I feel like it must be really interesting. It must be such an interesting dynamic that both of you are in the same line of work and are in the
Hmm.
same career path. And I
Mhm.
can imagine that is a really interesting and probably very supportive, I would imagine, dynamic where you both have this recognition and this understanding of the industry and it's this shoulder to lean on.
Mhm.
It really is. We're so blessed that we work so well together
Yeah.
and that there's no competition or anything.
Yeah.
Everyone tells you, I don't know if you've ever heard this, Izzy, but everyone tells you if you're an actor, don't date another actor.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. I heard that my whole
And
life.
for the most part, it is true.
And that there is a reason. It's
Yeah.
because it can get weird. All of a sudden, Nicole is doing incredible, and I could get resentful. Luckily, we've never ever had that. We're never comparing each other. We're always a
Yeah.
team.
Mhm.
To answer your question, Blue Moon. My most proud accomplishment is the fact that I was able to act in in the company that I was with. Which, by the
Mhm.
way, Ethan, Bobby, they made it incredibly easy. I was with them for most of the movie, and they did not make it hard. I will say that they were so generous and kind with their talent and their as actors. If you've got a generous actor, someone who's giving, and that's the most you can ask for. But I will say it could have been so easy for me to get too deep into my imposter syndrome, which I did feel a lot, especially in the first week of filming. Like, how am I in this scene right now? The first scene I shot was with Ethan, just me and him. And I'm like, this is like, should I be here? And the answer is always yes, you do deserve to
Mhm.
be there. And my most proud accomplishment is that I was able to eventually own that space
Mhm.
and give work that I'm proud of in that high pressure environment and go, no, I do belong here. I do, and because it could affect your performance if you don't
Mhm.
own that space.
Yeah,
Yeah.
accomplishment wise, I think professionally, I mean, the job that always stands out to me is I did a series on Nickelodeon, I Am Frankie, and we did 42 episodes, and I feel like I was so young and like so like it was my third audition ever. And I just like
Wow.
threw myself in, like I studied really hard. I wasn't I didn't just, get on set and have fun and not know my lines. Like I really, really worked, and I'm really proud of everything that made it on TV. But and because I lived in that character for 2+ years, it just got to the point where I had such a rhythm with the crew and the family.
Mm,
Just getting to that level of stability and being able to know a character so well, I can glance at a scene and be off book because I understand.
mm,
And I'm like, that is just I mean it's a privilege. So many actors don't get to live in a character for that long, that consistently, to be able to do that, and that's a great accomplishment. But personally, I feel like it's along the same lines of like finding your people and like not letting the pressure of the business and the craziness of the world like get you down, like being surrounded by people that constantly lift you up, and like being a decade into this business professionally and kind of like still being excited to get auditions and wanting to do it. And
mm,
that is an accomplishment, because the second you start, getting in your own way or being depressed at the outcomes, like it's not fun anymore. And when
hmm.
that's the case, like you don't need to be doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And I feel like to have started in the industry, like you said, quite young and be in something for 2.5 years, I think you said, is such a big commitment as well. So I can imagine the amount of energy and effort that went into that is definitely so rewarding. Um, but yeah, that's all the questions I've got for today, guys. It's been absolutely such a pleasure speaking to you both. Really fun experience doing a joint interview as well. So thank you for joining me. And thank you to everyone else for tuning in, and I'll see you all next time.